Welcome to the Autonomic Homeostasis Activation podcast. I'm Pals.
And I'm Ruth Lorensson. We'll be unpacking what it looks like to activate your brain to holistically manage stress and trauma to facilitate homeostasis.
Being free to experience wellness in body, mind, and spirit.
Thank you for joining us. Let's get this conversation started. Well, Tom.
Hello.
Hello. It's good to see you. And I'm excited about this conversation. Do you want to? I always introduce it, so why don't you? What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we have been talking about the brain, and a thought that I had was we have a relationship with it, and that can manifest in very different ways and is impactful on our minds, on us, but it's also impactful on the brain. So thought we might explore today, what is your relationship with your brain?
And have you ever thought of that question? Right?
Right.
That's the starting point.
Most people haven't.
Yeah.
But they've been living it.
Yeah. And so I think there's what we want to explore is all the different options there. So let's start with people who have just not even engaged with that, that would never have thought of that question. What relationship with my brain? But it is important. And I think for me, I was thinking about this just because you brought it up earlier that we were going to talk about this topic. And just because I've been in connection with you, now I very much am really aware of my relationship with my brain. In fact, I have a conversation with my brain and I ask it questions, and when I'm stuck, I feel like, I'll ask my brain. But that was never part of my paradigm before, I wouldn't have been someone who would have even had that language. So, and I wonder how many people are in that space where they just haven't connected with the fact that there is this relationship that's available to have with your brain.
It's a living thing. The brain isn't just an organ in our body. Like I have a brain, I have a liver, I have a pancreas. It's just an organ in the body. It is us, but it's also not us. Interoception, for example, is our sensory awareness of our bodies. That is a function of the brain, but includes the brain. And Dr. Damasio, interoception combined with homeostasis is life. And it is consciousness.
And I think one of the things that really we encourage people to do, especially with AHA, because it's so fundamental, this topic is so fundamental with AHA, because we talk about how, you are a therapist. And, one of the sentences you've coined is the brain is the therapist.
Yes.
And so, it's
which
pretty
makes
radical.
Me not the therapist,
well, yeah, exactly.
Then.
And it's
makes me a coach.
Yeah, it's pretty radical
wellness.
In that space because, we're not seeing that in other areas of therapy. But you're, as a therapist who's been involved in this for so many years, you're going, actually, the brain is a better therapist than I can ever be. So I will be available to coach and partner with the brain, And so, right from the beginning with anyone who comes to you for AHA, you're encouraging them, even maybe you haven't said it explicitly, but you're encouraging them to have a relationship with their brain.
Yes.
The brain is their therapist. The brain is helping them in their well-being. It's not just therapy, it's this space of wellness. And in AHA, it is this kind of engagement with the brain. So this is like the floor of AHA, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's inherent in the nature of AHA. Interoception is our sensory awareness of consciousness. As I have frequently said, Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. And from the perspective of consciousness and interoception, The reality is I sense that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the brain, as I've also often said, has a mind of its own. It's not just processing information. If that's all it was, then artificial intelligence is an organism and exists and is sentient.
No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, it's processing information. Lots of things process information. Your phone has more processing capacity of information than the thing that took human beings to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And you carry it around with you. It's processing information. But a phone isn't a living thing.
Yeah.
And
And
your brain is.
And I think that is that reframe that gets people on the path to go, oh, I can have a relationship and I should have a relationship.
And
with
I
my brain.
do.
Yes. Well, I guess engaging with it.
Yes.
Because I think the reality is we do have a relationship with our brain, is whether we know it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think knowing it is so beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
But we will only kind of step into that understanding if we really see it as more than an organ and something that actually has wisdom. And we've talked about this before,
Yes.
In terms of consciousness and all of that type of stuff, and and how we can, there's this relational aspect with the brain that's more than an organ of the body.
Absolutely. Think about it. When you go to sleep, your brain doesn't. You consciously do, but your brain stays functioning. And because the brain isn't just processing information, it's not this cybernetic tool that does stuff and it's feedback. It's alive.
Mm-hmm.
It experiences, and because it experiences, you experience. That's a living thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's an argument that's gaining traction and it's a theory that because of interoception, we sense thinking and cognition about that is related and a function of it, but it's separate. But we're not the only one that thinks about things. Your brain thinks about things, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was tempted to just say, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the brain does think. When you have a literal aha moment, you've been trying to understand something or think about something or recall something. And when you're unable to, and you stop doing that, oftentimes the brain continues to do it below your conscious level of awareness.
Yeah.
And then when it's arrived at an understanding, did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
When it has arrived at an understanding of something, it communicates that to you consciously. This is an involuntary autobiographical cognition, a eureka moment, an aha moment. The brain has been thinking, not just processing information. It has been thinking the way you were trying to think, but were unsuccessful at. How is that different? How really is that different? You've got something you're trying to understand or figure out, and you've spent however much time unsuccessfully and unfruitfully doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have been doing it. Then when you stop, your brain continues to think.
Yeah.
That's someone, not something, thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If it's AI or a computer, that's something processing information. The brain isn't a computer. What's fascinating, think about it this way. Artificial intelligence is modeled on how the human brain processes information. Artificial intelligence. We even give it an attribution of intelligence. And yet it's not sentient. It's not a living organism unless you're going to say something that can process information is a living thing because it's learning and growing. All my point is that if we shift away from thinking of the brain as simply an organ in the body and see it as someone, how often is that collective?
Yeah.
Your brain is operational at a level below your conscious awareness, interacting with other brains, isn't it?
Yeah. We've talked about this before too.
Go ahead.
Well, I think, yeah, we have signs of, well, we know that that's true. It's, I remember we talked about many months ago, there was, in my community in Fort Collins, there was a shooting at the Mall. Do you remember this story? And then I was driving from my gym and I got to the road and if I went left, I would have gone to the Mall and right home. I mean, my gym is right around the corner from my house. And I left the gym and I thought, I think I'll pop to the Mall. And then I got to that part in the road where I could go left or right, and then I just changed my mind and just thought, I just don't think I can be bothered. I'm going to go home. So I went home and then I switched my computer on, and there was like, oh my gosh, there's a shooting in the Mall and blah blah blah. And interestingly, I went on. It was like a neighborhood chat thing. So I saw all these comments, and there was this one lady that I actually knew from somewhere else, and she said on the comment, she said, oh, that's so strange. I was about to go to the Mall today, and I drove up to the road, and I thought, and I just had a thought, no, don't go to the Mall today, and I turned back. And exactly the same thing that I had. And I was like, whoa, that's like collective, some sort of collective.
It is.
Yeah, subconscious knowing of something, yes. And we're all in it together. And we shouldn't be shocked at this. We know that animals have it, but we do. It's just that
they're much wiser about it and natural engaging with it than humans are.
And I think we're just so caught up in the self-conscious space that we don't pay attention to the subconscious things that happen all the time, like that these things are happening a lot.
Yes.
That show that we have a collective sense of consciousness, and our brains are thinking below that self-conscious level.
Yes. And even the terminology, conscious, subconscious, and in between is preconscious. We've talked on a prior episode about conscious, preconscious, subconscious, and unconscious. It's all mind-centric.
Yeah.
It's us with our mind, as if that's the most significant thing about being human. But it's not. I don't think it is.
Yes, I agree.
We're just so inordinately preoccupied, ironically, with us and our thinking that a vast amount of our existence isn't related to it. You're not consciously thinking right now about managing your pancreas. You aren't. Your brain's going, I am.
Yeah.
my point is that I think there are so many benefits and impacts to how we relate to the brain as something that is more than us.
Yeah, and I think that is like, as we're chatting about it now, I think the invitation is so alluring, isn't it? It's like it's not just like, it sounds on one level, it sounds a little bit nuts, a relationship with your brain, right? Like if you just didn't know anything. But
Yes.
then after talking about it like we are, it's like, oh my gosh, you get to like literally have a relationship with not something, someone
Yes.
that is thinking way more than you can possibly think.
Mhm.
And so we have this ability to connect with that and benefit from that in relationship is pretty wild, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But so full of potential.
What is
Because
going
we
on?
do it anyway.
Exactly. But I think, it's tapping into what is going on that, on that level that we can't tap into on our own. Like
Life.
what is happening there?
Life and wisdom and functioning. Yes.
And so that's the real, I think, that's the first space, isn't it? People who don't acknowledge that they have a relationship with the brain, you can get to have that. Like that is, when we talk about what is your relationship with your brain, it's move from not acknowledging it to acknowledging this and enter into it, because it's a fascinating world. But let's move on, Tom, as well, because some people do have a relationship, would say, oh no, I have a relationship with my brain, but then they kind of they blame. We were joking, weren't we? We were like,
you had a series when I first mentioned about the possibility of the idea of an episode on your relationship with your brain. You spontaneously thought of 3 different things.
I did, yeah.
Do you remember them?
I was thinking of the not knowing that you have a relationship with your brain.
I have a relationship? What?
And then also kind of having a negative relationship with your brain.
You used a particular word.
Did I? I can't remember.
Demonize.
Demonize. There you go.
You demonize the brain.
Demonize.
Thanks, brain. Go. Ah.
And then we were jokingly saying, don't blame the brain. Like that's like kind of could be a car sticker, couldn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, don't blame the brain. Like
then there was a third one that you mentioned.
And that was, I can't
Friendship.
remember. Friendship.
Hey, partner. And it's partnering with your brain.
Yeah.
Because we actually
and that's the spectrum. So, we don't want to, there's some people who can demonize the brain or like, I mean, I did it this morning, Tom. We met up, there's a few of us that met up this morning. And I was just, drove down here and I was feeling a little klutzy or something. And I said, oh, my brain's not working properly today. That's demonizing my brain.
Your brain's going, oh.
Thank you for giving me all the blame, Ruth. By the way, that was you, not me. So, but we do that, don't we? We can blame our brain and
often do.
Why do we do that? Because we don't understand.
Because we want to shift responsibility.
And we don't really understand. If we're doing that, we don't really understand. What we're actually saying is, what's more accurate is, oh, my mind's not working well today.
Yes.
Not my brain.
Or I am asking my brain to do something it really doesn't want to do, but because we're partners with it, it's obligated. It's got to respond. Think of it this way. You have someone that is a friend or a partner or your child or whatever, and you have an interaction with them because you have a relationship with them. It may be a very casual thing that is like very surface. It's a clerk in the store, or it might be a very deep relationship, long lasting. This is another person and how they are acting affects you.
Mm-hmm.
But you also are affecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a negative interaction, a human tendency is to say, you're the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do that with the brain.
Yeah.
Why? Because if something isn't functioning well, I can blame my brain.
Mm-hmm.
When the brain's going, you think we have a relationship, and because you do some thinking and we have a relationship and I have a role in this relationship, like you think there's some threat to your well-being when there actually isn't, and the brain says, I know there isn't,
Mm-hmm.
but because you think there is, then I have to do a sympathetic flight or fight because we're in this together.
Yeah.
And the brain's going, I really would rather not do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the reality is, I know there isn't an actual threat. You've just made one up, but I got to do my part in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do flight or fight
Mm-hmm.
protectively, because if you think there is a threat to well-being and I don't respond, you're going to think there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah. That would totally make sense. So, and I think it's interesting. Do you have any thoughts on, there's a lot of brain fog. So like, what have you got any thoughts on brain fog? Because I think that is like, I know it can be a real thing for people, but again, it can label the brain's not working. So I'm curious I'm putting you on the spot here, but I'm just curious if you've got any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do.
Can you share?
It's not brain fog. It's mind fog. Have you ever heard of the phrase too much information?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's probably not an issue for the brain. I mean, think about it this way. The brain has a capacity to process visual information. Now, this obviously has changed, but a number of years ago, it was true that if you took all the supercomputers that existed at the time, they did not have the computing power to process visual information the way the brain itself does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about it from the mind perspective and the phrase too much information. What does too much information mean?
Overload. Yeah.
And
that totally makes sense because, we talked before about the relationship between the mind of the brain and the mind and our minds.
Yes.
And actually, again, the brain is in relationship with us, with our mind. And so, the mind gets in its way at times. So actually, and it totally makes sense because brain fog has been something that's really been like recently coming up a lot for people. And I wonder whether, that idea that the mind is overwhelmed.
Yes.
And then it will have an impact on what the brain will do because it's in relationship with the mind.
Yep.
But yeah, again, I think the reason I brought that up was because I think, again, we are labeling something that possibly isn't the right thing.
No.
Which is the demonizing of the brain. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with brain fog, have you ever been in a situation where there are conversations going on and you're trying to think about something as well as interacting, and it just gets to be too much information and you just can't think straight?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the brain can't handle that kind of processing of information.
Yeah.
We can't.
And actually in our worlds that we live in, we have so much, like, if we're not thinking about the amount of information that's infiltrating our minds and questioning whether that is a source of is just overload, too much, then that makes sense to me.
Yeah. and is representative of how often we assign responsibility to the brain when it isn't the brain at all. It's the mind and our use of and interaction with the brain and its capacity. AHA provides for allowing an experience where the brain engages in homeostasis. We interoceptively, sensorily focus on that over this gradual natural process. The brain restores that. Can't tell you the number of times that where somebody had brain fog, and by the time homeostasis is restored, they don't.
Interesting.
It's because the brain doesn't have a fog. It has tremendous capacity to process information. Analogous to a mechanical thing, you have a laptop. It has tremendous computing power, now supercharged with artificial intelligence. And yet, depending upon the keys that you hit and the commands you enter, you can render that astonishing device completely useless. Can't you? Depending upon the keystrokes you hit, the commands that you enter, it's just going, nope, and compute. We do that to the brain and then assign responsibility. Well, the brain's not working right. No, the brain is just trying to make something work that doesn't work. And that's us with our minds. And then we have a relationship with.
Yeah.
For many people, that's antithetical. They literally don't like their brain or their body. For others, they don't even think of it that way. They don't even think of having a relationship.
And then, just so there's brain fog, that's one of them. But then I was thinking that even like intelligence, and, we associate our intelligence, there's our personality is coming from the brain. And so depending on your perception of yourself, that can reflect your relationship with your brain. So, for example, if you feel like I'm just not that intelligent, then you can kind of blame your brain. And actually, I'm curious about that space with people, either, if maybe some people are like, oh, I love my brain because it's so intelligent. But for some people who've got a bit lower self-esteem, they can attribute that to their brain too.
Self-image. Yes.
Like, I'm just not intelligent enough. Or we say these things, right? That, but what we're really attributing, we're attributing something to the brain that's not accurate again.
Yes. And intelligence is very much a function of the interaction and relationship of the mind
with the brain.
The brain. Case in point, myself. Because of a very traumatized childhood, my actual intellectual capacity was not manifest. When I was in elementary school, I wasn't a very good student. You would C's, D's, maybe I'd get some B's. And with a father who was the school principal, all the more pressure. I just didn't perform well. By high school, I was in a town of 10,000 people, one high school. I was 74th in my class. Then college, I actually made the honor roll. And then by my first master's degree, I graduated with honors, and my second master's degree, that in clinical counseling, pretty much all A's. Was I suddenly much more intelligent? No. Through working on dealing with the traumas and all the rest of that stuff and the self-image stuff, my actual capacity intellectually, I was able to live that out more.
So the limit is
That's
the
not
mind.
the brain.
Yeah,
That's the mind.
Yeah, the limit is what's happened to the mind, the perceptions, stress, trauma, all of that stuff. And because but the brain is vastly intelligent and vastly wise, and we all have access to that if we work on our relationship with it.
Yeah. I can't tell you the number of people who I've done AHA sessions with. And this is just the somatic. This isn't even the problem-solving cognitive homeostasis. This is the somatic homeostasis. A number of, and I don't even have a number at this point, of individuals I've done AHA with who had traumatic brain injury. And by the end of the session, they describe mental clarity.
Wow. It's amazing.
Was that a brain problem? Yes and no. It was the brain not having the chance to restore homeostasis and normal function. Why? Because of the mind and the impact of trauma on the mind and thinking, oftentimes not even being able to work collaboratively with the brain itself as it does the thinking.
So let's talk about what it looks like to be a friend. Like, what does friendship with our brains look like? And what have you seen, Tom? Like, you've got so many stories of, you know, from people who've like demonized have a, you know, that type of relationship with their brain, or some people who are like, what?
Which is completely understandable.
Totally. But then other people who are like, not got a paradigm for it at all, to like people who start doing that and they're like, wow, this is amazing, and encouraged to have that friendship. And I think that's a lovely way of saying it, a friendship with our own brain. It's a caring relationship of you know, knowing that it's incredibly beneficial to and an investment too. I mean, friendship to me says that it's not just like, it's not an extractive relationship. You know, relationship can mean anything, but a friendship means investment both ways, you know.
And and just thinking of it with a parallel of a human to other human relationship, sometimes we can be completely on the same page. We trust that person. We love that person. We can have conflict, but we resolve the conflict. We just have a positive relationship. Or there can be interpersonal relationships that are a bit conflicted. There isn't trust, there is suspicion, there is love, but it's so conflicted. What I'm saying is we often do the same thing with our own brain. We don't trust it. We are suspicious of it. We have a very low expectations of its capacity to help us. And frequently elevate our suspicion that it's not even on my side.
And for me, as we're talking, it's like, it's almost like you've got this person in your life, like, just think about it like this. You've got this person in your life that has all the wisdom and all the, like, all the problems that you could foresee in your life. And then not only does it have all the wisdom or knowledge for you, the best kind of option, but it's also, its whole job is to protect you.
Yes.
And it's like you have this person in your life that does all of that, and it's like you ignore them your whole life. Like, why would you do that? That would be idiotic
Why
to do
indeed?
that. But we do that because we don't see it for what it is, which is a person.
It is an organism.
Mm-hmm.
I have this very strange theory, which probably may not come as a surprise to our listeners, but I have different ways of thinking about things. An organism is something that has a capacity to process information, is a living thing. My perspective on the brain, having seen its capacity to independently operate and help the person themselves to not just survive, but move from where surviving wasn't even certain to thriving. And that's been an independent function of the brain itself. And because there is a collective quality amongst brains, I've wondered if the brain itself is an organism. It just lives within us.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way. How much of the brain, as we've talked about, is in the enteric nervous system, right?
Yeah.
Survive and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And the glial cells and neurons that exist in the lining of our digestive system in mass about the size of a brain in a dog. That's a lot of brain. And it exists in relationship with all those microorganisms that live in our gut. And it's having an interaction and conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's having conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It is exchanging information with. How conscious are you of that? You're not.
No. Not
You are very conscious of when the conversation goes sideways, hence probiotics and prebiotics and things that enhance the well-being of those microorganisms that are living within us, having conversation with a part of your brain that functionally isn't a part you even really think with, but does think. When you have intuition, you have a gut feeling about something, a gut feeling, interoception, sensing is a brain feeling. It is a brain sensing.
It's a brain thinking.
But it's not you with your conscious mind. You're just conscious of its consciousness. So here's my theory, is that the brain that inhabits us is more than just us. And is so often our connection to worlds and other organisms, most of which we're not even aware of. But we wouldn't even be alive or stay alive, let alone thrive, if the enteric nervous system, that part of the brain, wasn't engaging in relationship and conversations with all those other organisms called microorganisms.
So the brain is the collective consciousness part of who we are.
Yes.
And our mind, our sense of being with our mind is us.
Yeah.
So it's just it's the broad, like in some ways, are you saying it's the broader us? It's like the way bigger
It's the
us.
collective us.
Yeah.
I came across this just the other day. I was reminded of something. It used to be really a thing culturally. Jinx, right? You remember jinx?
Yeah, I do.
What is jinx?
It's like jinx, double jinx, something.
What is that? It's when
we thought the same thing,
and said the same thing. My granddaughter is all about Frozen and Jinx, double Jinx.
Yeah, that's right.
And right in Frozen. What is that? Were the two people thinking intentionally the same thing? No, their brain was. They were just consciously aware of their brain doing that.
And our minds don't do that. No, we don't do that with our minds. But our yeah,
because I was just thinking that.
But that is fascinating. It's in some ways we have this individual. Our minds are our individual persona, right?
Yes.
Trying to figure out our lives, trying to work out what makes me Ruth in this world. But then my brain is also Ruth, but it's connected to the collective state of consciousness, all sorts of organisms, connecting to that. I think that's fascinating.
I think that is so full of potential and promise.
Yeah.
Because one, I'm not alone. I'm literally not alone.
And also, if you know that and you believe that about your brain, then what it's tapping into is way more than just the individual. Like what you can learn from that space is vast.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And so that's the excitement about having a relationship with a friendship with your brain is that why wouldn't you?
Yes. Because you do. It just might as well be a supportive, loving relationship with something that is fundamentally committed to your surviving and thriving.
Wonderful.
Befriend your brain.
Befriend your brain. Don't blame the brain.
Don't blame it.
Befriend
it.
Okay. Well, I can't wait for our next conversation.
Okay.
You've been listening to the Autonomic Homeostasis Activation podcast. Join us next time as we continue in our conversations with Tom.
If you're interested in pursuing your own wellness journey, please check out our website, autonomichealing.org.
You can also reach out to Tom at innerworkings.org.